I am out here in the shop working on my config, getting it ready to load up my Saber later. And I thought I'd just kind of maybe go through a couple of things you might run into normally if you're having issues, or what you would go through as you did your config, especially if you're new. This is all for new people. Obviously, experts don't need to come to my channel because I'm kind of bumbling through and learning about as I go, and I don't mind sharing what I learn and helping more people do it themselves. Because if you do it yourself, it's just more fun and it's more yours, and it's worth the effort if you ask me. I know Proffie is a little more complicated than CFX and GHV3 and Xeno and all that, but it's just there's so much you can do with it. It's just so fun to get into all the different aspects of it if you're willing to learn a little bit. So I got my config open. I'm going to show you first. Again, this is what your config looks like in Notepad. And this is where I did config work for a long time, but I do not recommend that. Get you Sublime Text. It's a free download, and it just kind of keeps prompting you for the paid version, which you can ignore and just keep using it. So this is what mine looks like. This is the color scheme I picked out. Much easier on the eyes. So what I'm doing, I'm loading up my LGT Saber. I have it called Rebel 4 config, and I've got, let's see, so far I've got 11 presets on it. And what I do is as I work on my config, I've learned over the year or two I've been in just a year maybe, whatever. The year I've been doing this is you do a little bit, you check it in Arduino. You do a little bit, you check it in Arduino. That way, if there's any mistakes, you find out your mistakes before you load 10 different blade styles that you then have to sift through to figure out where your mistake was. So it's best to do one or two at a time, and then go check it in Arduino. Come back, add another one or two blade styles, check it in Arduino. It'll save you a lot of hassle in the long run. Just be methodical like that. So I've got 11 fonts on here, and I've just ran it, but I'll run it again. I just ran this, so I ran my check up here. I checked it, and here's my Rebel 4 config, where it's going to pull it from the other video I did if you're interested in learning. And as you can see, Sketch uses 20. This number, 95% of the program storage space. Max is 262144 or 262.144. So that's how much space I got. I got 5% left, and that's all depending on what kind of blade styles you put on there. Depending, how many you can get. I've got what I say 11 on here right now. In the past, I've had up to 60 plus of just like standard Canon fonts and blade styles, just using the same blade style over and over again for different things. So the blade style is more your limitation than the actual fonts themselves. But I've got a lot of complicated, or several complicated blades on here, so it's going to eat up a lot of that board. These are all one-offs, mostly non-Canon fonts on my LGT I put on there. So what I'm going to do is, let's see here. I'm going to add, I start off, I got Pittakar Coon, Father Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker Hoth, and then I go into my non-Canon fonts. I want to add one more Vader here. I'm going to add Vader ESB, just so it'll match up with that Hoth, for balance or whatever, I guess you call it. Where's it at here? This is my other config I'm looking at. There's a New Hope, Father ESB. So I want this one. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go over here to my other config, and I'm going to paste it in. I use Control V, but I'll show you just, yeah. So, and you can go through and renumber these. So that's 3, that's still 4. And then I go 5 and back down, but it's really no point. It just helps keep it neat and tidy looking. It doesn't really serve any purpose to update your numbers. I've kind of gotten away from that. I just go by whatever it says on Arduino. So I'm going to hit File Save. I'm going to go back to Arduino. I know that's not going to take up much space from experience, so I'm just going to check it just to be safe. It'll probably still say 95. But just do this every time you add one, and that way if you hit an error, well, it was that one I just added, so you can go back and fix that. When you copy and paste from a known config that has loaded up and worked in the past, obviously it's going to be pretty good to go. So that Vader ESB shouldn't give me any issue. Okay, so you see it's done compiling. I don't remember what the other number was, but it's still shows 95% of our storage space, so we could add even more to it. You can go right up to the edge as long as you don't go over. So what do I want to do here? I've got Vader in there. I've got my two Vaders. I want to add, let's see. I want to add another grayscale font. I'm going to put it right here behind Galvanic. What I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to paste it in, Control V. So I've got two of these now, but I don't want two Christmases, obviously. I want, let's see here, grayscale, masterless. That's what I want. Okay, so I want grayscale masterless for that font instead of Christmas V2. So I'm going to just go here and copy this and paste it in here for this name. Control V, paste. I don't think there's a track for masterless. I'm just going to, let's see, I'm going to go up here and use what I use for galvanic. So I'm going to hit that, Axel F, copy that, go here and paste that in. So it'll just have the same, and it's the Axel Foley soundtrack from Beverly Hills Cop. But anyway, so it'll have the same track. It'll pull the same track, and I don't really care about the track of that. I just want the font mainly. All right, so I have the name changed. I have the track changed. I'm going to change the blade style now. I'm going to go back to my fonts. I'm going to go into masterless because Grayscale provides you a font blade style. I want to start. You always want to start at this style, and then get all of it. Come in here and copy that. Get out of that. And then I'm going to come up here right in front of Christmas. Oh, this is it, right in front of GS Masterless. And just highlight that whole blade style. And you can even just, double click like that if you want, either way. And then I'm going to paste in my other one. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go back to my config. I'm in my Arduino. I'm going to run my check again. Wait, oops. First you got to save. I'm going to save that. All right, so saved into Masterless, the new blade style and everything. I'm going to go back to Arduino, and I'm going to run my check. And immediately you can see I got some issues going on. Copy error message, compilation error. You see that compilation error expected bracket before string constant. I don't know what that means, but obviously I'm missing something. I'm missing this little bracket here. And that's where I pointed out in the other video. It's so important to get this little sequence right at the end of your config. And so let's go back up to matchless here. I know that's the one I just did. I know that's what messed me up. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to go over here to view. I'm going to word wrap where I can see it all. Okay. I'm going to go down here. Okay. And if you remember from the other video I did, you need this certain combination after these parentheses. You need comma, bracket, comma. This GS matchless is commented out, and it doesn't really matter. It just skips that somehow. I'm just going to make that smoother again. So I've got that now. I've got that parentheses, comma, bracket, comma, and I think that's probably going to fix my issue. So I'm going to save it again. I'm going to go back to my Arduino. I'm going to run my check again. Okay, checks through. Everything went through. I'm using 96% now, so I could even go back and add more if I wanted to. Maximum is 26. So everything. So that was the only issue with that masterless blade style, was that little comma was missing right there, and that's why I got an error. So you see why it's really important to just do one check, do one or two check, and that way you don't ever get like a dozen, like I used to do, like a dozen different blade styles on the page, and you got to go through and figure out where you messed up. It's just easier this way. So that's good. I'm going to try to add one more. Let's see. I'm going to go up here to my other config, and I want to see if I can get Faulty Darksaber on there too, I think. There it is. Okay, I'm going to copy that. Go back to Rebel, and where do I want it? I definitely want it up there with the Canon fonts. I can go back here and turn off my word rep if I want to make it easier to scroll. Let's put it, let's just put it after Father. I'm going to paste that in. And I'm going to save again. Going back to Arduino, run my check. All right, and here we go. It's almost full. It's using 260, 936 bytes, which is 99% of our 262 maximum. So I do have a little room on there, and I could try to squeeze something else on there, but that worked out just fine, and everything's loaded up. I think I'm going to try just to see and maybe show you. See if we can get another one on there. I want Jada Lorian's, what is it called? Lightsaber of the Bells on there. Let's see. I have it over here. Yeah, there it is. So I'm going to go here to my Rebel 4. I'm going to put it down at the end, past Christmas V2. I'm going to copy this over here on master config. I finally just started making a master config with all the blade styles I use regularly on it, which is a big pain to sift through, but at least they're all in one place, and I don't have to worry about losing them. Other than that, I haven't really gotten very organized. I'm going to copy this, go back here to Rebel, paste that in. All right, and then I'm going to hit save again. Going back to check one last time, see if we can squeeze that on there. I don't think we can, and that's good because I want to show you, but let's double check. Could probably get another Canon blade on there. Okay, so it came back and we've got errors, so that's not good. So let's see, scroll over here to the right to the end of these errors, and you can see flash overflowed by 4672 bytes. So what we have is we had too much stuff on that config, it wouldn't hold it, and we got an overflow of 4,672 bytes. So that big config is too big for your board. So you go back to my config. I could hit Control Z. I could just delete this either way. And I'm going to save it again. And that's all I'm going to have on there. So I know that's going to run because I ran it just before I tried to add that one. So this config is good to go. So as soon as I get my sound fonts matching up, I'll be loading up my Saber. That's all I got. I'll catch you guys on the flip, and may the force be with you.